to understand and read the first stanza of the poem. The first line, I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. The poet expresses his strong desire in this line to get back to the sea, as the call from the sea cannot be ignored or denied by him. He longs to get back to the sea, to sail through the waves. The second line of this stanza, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. This line describes the feeling of a mariner gets when the seafaring way of the life calls to him. The seafarer in the poem says, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. Tall ships were and are known for their seaworthiness. The ship and the star are all he needs to guide his way through the sea. The third stanza, and the wheels kick, and the wind's song, and the white sails shaking. These pondies suggest the repeated slapping of the waves against the bow of the ship, in addition to the meter suggesting the repeated slap of the waves. The wheel's kick is a reference to the ship's steering wheel spinning out of control. The last line, and a grey mist on the sea's face, and a grey dawn breaking. Here, the poet is longing to see the grey mist rise up at the breaking of the dawn from the sea. He also wishes that there would be strong winds making the white clouds fly. And thus, children, we see how beautifully the poet describes his desire to get back to the sea. The poetic devices used in the first stanza are assonance. It is the repetition of vowel sound of I and in wheels kick and wind's song and white sails shaking. We can also see a lot of imagery used by the poet in this poem. Imagery makes the readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. We also see end rhyme being used in the poem that makes the poem very rhythmic. It is used to make the stanza melodious. For example, sky, by, shaking, and breaking. So this is all about our first stanza of the poem. Sea Fever is an excellent title for this poem because it refers to the way that for some people the desire to see the sea and be close to it and sail upon it can act in the same way as a fever which cannot be shaken off. The second stanza also starts with I must go down to the seas again, to the call of the running tide. So the repetition of this line, I must go down to the seas again, emphasizes the poet's urge to go back to the seas again. It shows his desire to travel on his ship and sail through the waves. Run and tide means the incoming tide. So after the slack of the low tide until before the high tide. The poet stands at the shore and imagines himself moving, traveling through the waves on his ship. The second line is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. The poet here cannot resist the pull of the sea, as he repeats call in a wild call and a clear call. He cannot ignore and deny the call of the sea, and then he urges to go back to the sea again. The third line of the stanza, and all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying. In this line, the poet wishes that there would be strong winds that would blow away the thick white clouds in the sky and take the sail forward throughout the day. Watching from the shore fills his heart with the adventure and spirit, and the poet then wishes to go back to the sea. And flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. The terms flung spray, blown spume, and the seagulls crying are all related to it and conveys the sailor's urge to keep traveling. When the seas are rough, the waves throw out a spray, and blown spume is the froth on the top of the waves as they hit each other. Frequently, seagulls are circling, hovering overhead, and their crying refers to their calls to the other seagulls. With the use of the end rhyme and imagery, this stanza comes alive in front of our eyes. The poet wishes to capture the sight when the strong winds carrying the clouds and listens to the cries of the sea creatures. He wants to be carefree as a gypsy, to adore the adventurous life of the sea. So children, this brings us to the end of this stanza. This is the last stanza, which begins with the repetition of the line, I must go down to the seas again. That shows the poet's heartiest urge to explore and travel and return back to the sea. The poet does not want to stay at one place, but wishes to travel through the sea. The speaker longs for the excitement of such wandering travel, especially if the destination is uncertain. The second line of the stanza, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like whetted knife. The poet is trying to make a change in his life. He interrupts the monotony and wants to live more freely. He wishes to steer his ship through the seagull's way and the whale's way. The wind's like whetted knife. This line signifies the chilling sensation caused by the blowing cold winds. Whetted means sharp. Hence, the wind is so cold that it cuts like a sharp knife. The third line, and all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover. In this line, the poet yearns for his free environment where he can live the vagrant gypsy life untethered from the shore. He asks to listen to a happy story from his companion on the ship. The third and the last stanza brings the theme of wanderlust to the forefront. Masefield speaks of the vagrant gypsy life and expresses his desire for laughing fellow rover. The last line of this poem, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over, is a beautiful culmination of this poem. In this line, the poet had wished for a happy ending to the sea journey, but the significance is graver. Here, the poet has compared a sea voyage to a man's life, which is full of struggles and challenges. and a positive culmination of that life, which means peaceful afterlife and eternal rest. The final quatrain is full of positive imagery like Marianne and Sweet Dream. We also see an alliteration very beautifully used by the poet in the second line of this stanza. To the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like whetted knife. The poet has also used a simile in this line, winds like a whetted knife.